Marcus Rashford sent off for ugly tackle during pivotal Man United Champions League clash. Marcus Rashford returned to the starting lineup for Manchester United against FC Copenhagen in the Champions League but was shown a straight red card in the first half. Manchester United star Marcus Rashford was sent off in his team's Champions League game against FC Copenhagen. The England international returned from injury to start at Park End. However, he was shown a straight red card following a VAR check after a foul on opponent Elias Gillert. Rashford caught Gillert while attempting to hold off a challenge from the Copenhagen man. Referee Donatas Rumsas didn't immediately brandish a red card, but eventually dismissed United's number 10 after going over to the monitor at the side of the pitch. Manchester United had led 2-0 at the time of the red card, with Rasmus HOJLUND scoring twice. Copenhagen responded almost instantly once they had a man advantage, though, with Mohamed Elyounoussi on target. Scott McTominay puts it on a plate for Rasmus HOJLUND to score opener versus Copenhagen. Rasmus HOJLUND opens the scoring as Manchester United take an early lead against Copenhagen. It was Aaron Wan-Bissaka who picked out a brilliant run from midfield by Scott McTominay, who doesn't panic before looking up and picking out HOJLUND with a low cross at the back post. The goal gives United an early goal and one they needed. Now it's a matter of keeping hold of this lead and adding to our lead before halftime. HOJLUND's strike will go down as his fourth Champions League goal for United. A sign of things to come tonight? We certainly hope so. United have been clever in their approach thus far by slowing down the tempo of the game. Both Evans and Maguire seem happy to have the ball, with Copenhagen standing off. Confirmed 11, Rashford back to face Copenhagen, HOJLUND, Fernandes and Garnacho also start as Ten Hag seeks victory in Denmark. Manchester United return to UEFA Champions League action on Wednesday evening as they travel to Denmark to face FC Copenhagen. United beat the Danish side a fortnight ago, registering their first victory in the competition this season, a terrible start for Erik Ten Hag's side. United have not just started terribly in the Champions League this season, they are also out of the Carabao Cup, beaten by Newcastle United, last season's finalists, and have lost 5 of their 11 matches in the Premier League so far this season. United need results, and fast. United have lost to both Bayern Munich and Galatasaray in the Champions League so far this season, so a victory here will put them in good stead to get out of the group. However, they will need to beat both Bayern and Galatasaray in the last 2 group stage matches to be certain. Manchester United squad: Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Evans, Dalot, McTominay, Eriksen, Rashford, Fernandes, Garnacho, HOJLUND. Substitutes: Bayender, Heaton, Lindelof, Reguilon, Varane, Amrabat, Mount, Hannibal, Forson, Martial, Antony, Pellistri. FC Copenhagen squad: Grabara, Ankersen, Vavro, Dix, Gillert, Larriger, Falk, Goncalves, Elyounoussi, Klaassen, Akuri. Substitutes: Sander, Dithmer, Sorensen, Tanlongo, Larsen, Babacar, Oscarsson, Boylsson, Lund, HOJLUND, Bargi, Froholt. United have boosted their confidence in the 1-0 victory over Fulham in the Premier League on Saturday, although they did leave it late to get the win. 3 points were a must for United, and that's what they got, which took some pressure off Ten Hag in the end. United will need the same game plan against Copenhagen on Wednesday evening, as they will need 3 points from this match to have any chance of getting out of the group this season, even if it saw them exit into the UEFA Europa League for the second part of the season. United will need to get themselves out of the problems that have arisen this season. It could be a confidence thing, a protest against the manager, or a number of other reasons. The manager knows what he has to do, and the players will one day realize that it's their job to perform. Marcus Rashford and Raphael Varane return, and Harry Maguire keeps his spot, but Antony could be dropped after his dismal display at Fulham. How Manchester United could line up for Crunch Champions League clash against Copenhagen. Manchester United travel to Denmark on Wednesday night, hoping to keep their Champions League campaign alive after returning to winning ways with injury time when at Fulham. The equation is relatively straightforward for Erik Ten Hag's men, who are third in Group A on 3 points, 6 behind leaders Bayern Munich and 1 behind Galatasaray. Beat Copenhagen and their destiny will rest firmly in their hands, while a draw would significantly complicate the path to the round of 16. Loose at the Park End Stadium, however, and the trapdoor to the Europa League will almost certainly open. As it's hitherto been the case this season, United arrive into the fixture with more questions than answers despite their injury time win against Fulham on Saturday. 10 HAG. Confirmed on Tuesday that Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez will not return before Christmas, while Luke Shaw remains unavailable. Loan signings Sergio Reguilon and Sofian Amrabat have underwhelmed so far, while Antony looks as far away from justifying his £85 million fee as at any point since he arrived at Old Trafford last year. Andre Onana may not have enjoyed the easiest of starts to his Manchester United career, but his place in the starting 11 on Wednesday night is assured. The Cameroonian was the hero when United beat Copenhagen at Old Trafford 2 weeks ago, as he saved Jordan Larsson's stoppage-time penalty to preserve a crucial 1-0 win. Erik ten Hag kept with Onana after high-profile mistakes in the defeats against Bayern Munich and Galatasaray, and is not going to drop his keeper after he kept a clean sheet at the weekend. The revolving door in United's defense has barely stopped moving this season. Raphael Varane started against Copenhagen 2 weeks ago, but has lost his place to Johnny Evans in the last 4 Premier League matches due to what Erik ten Hag described as a tactical decision. But playing twice in 4 days could be a stretch too far for the 35-year-old Evans, and it would not be a huge surprise to see Varane back in the starting 11. Harry Maguire has been United's best defender since forcing his way back into ten Hag's plans and looks set to keep his place, as is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Maguire finished the game against Fulham despite taking an early blow to the head and appearing groggy, but ten Hag insisted that all the necessary checks had been taken and the England defender is ready to play on Wednesday as well. Diogo Dalot remains a less than ideal option at left back, but loan signing Sergio Reguilon hasn't exactly impressed when given the nod this season. Victor Lindelof is available for selection again after missing the trip to Fulham with an illness, while Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw are out injured. Midfielder, a combination of injuries and players underperforming have meant Erik ten Hag has been unable to settle on a winning midfield formula so far this season. The theme is set to continue for the foreseeable future, with Casemiro out until Christmas at least. Fresh from scoring the winner at Craven Cottage, Bruno Fernandes will again lead United out, while Scott McTominay and Christian Eriksen should also keep their spots in midfield. The Dane struggled against Fulham, but injected some much-needed urgency when he came on against Copenhagen 2 weeks ago and has looked more comfortable in the Champions League than he has in the Premier League. Mason Mount could replace Antony, more on whom later, but Sofian Amrabat is likely to find himself on the bench again, after being replaced at halftime in the reverse fixture at Old Trafford. Attack, if Erik ten Hag's patience with Antony isn't wearing thin, it should be. The Brazilian has been dismal so far this season and has looked nowhere near justifying United's £85 million outlay. Facundo Pellistri looked lively when he replaced Antony against Fulham, but he's looked more suited to making an impact off the bench than to start. Ten Hag could deploy Mason Mount on the right with Bruno Fernandes at number 10, but has so far preferred to play the former Chelsea man in a deeper role instead. Marcus Rashford could return to the starting 11 in place